Alright, so here we're going to have a short, longer video on the modular modeling process. So I see a lot of students who, when they have a short project or want to make something, they'll pick something like this, and they'll start making it, and they don't realize that there's a specific way to model things like buildings, architecture, levels more efficiently. So what I'm going to show is, I'm going to show a way to quickly block out everything that you want to make, and then a way to make things modularly. This will be my first time trying this concept, so I'm going to be figuring it out naturally. Yeah, so let's just start going through it. So first thing I want to do is actually draw you a picture. So this is the thing we're going to try and make. First thing, we're going to try and analyze this picture. So we're going to try and pick out everything that's individual, that's separate, and we're going to start, picking pieces out. So we're just going to do some drawing. The second part, we're going to block everything out. So in the second part, we're going to make a block out from this image. What that means is we're going to make every single separate object that's in this image out of a very simple shape, so very simple geometry, and we're going to do that in Maya, and we're going to put everything in here. And by the time we finish that stage, we're going to have pretty much everything finished, but at a very low resolution. And after that, I'm just going to show you how I will then go through each individual piece and make it. And that's when we make. And 3.5 is also how I will show you after we block out and start making stuff, we can also start using Unreal. Okay, so let's get started with the first part, which is analyzing this picture. So I'm not going to make every single object. I'm just going to make the house and the main parts of the house. So the first thing I want to do is I want to think what this house is made of and separate it into pieces. I'm going to ignore the roof for now, and I'm just going to focus on this area. So the main part is it has this square level here. It has a window that's here. It has some sort of bars going on this side, and it has a door. So this is this square part and the things it's made of. Besides that, we also have these pillars. They're on the sides of this house, and that's the main part of the first level actually. So we just have our main body, we have a door, we have a window, we have these front pieces that go on the front, and that's it. That's the first part. And we also have these pillars. And those are those areas. Not all ink. Let's just erase these bits so we can see a bit better. So this is the main part of this section of the house. A lot less complicated, right? This is very difficult to look at. If you just pick it apart into pieces, it becomes a lot simpler. A block with a door and a window, a front, I don't know what this is called, separator, and a pillar. That's it. That's all the individual pieces of this lower part. Now let's look at this part. We have this whole kind of little piece of roof that's here, and we can probably separate this into maybe 3 pieces. So we have this section, which is one end. We have the other end, but they're the same. and we have these middle pieces. And these middle pieces we could probably break up into sections of 3. And these 3 sections also seem to have 3 layers. So they seem to have like a log, or actually this isn't a log really, is it? It's more like a log tile, like this. And then underneath it, there's, in between, there seems to be another log connected to something. And then there seems to be another one underneath. This is very... Or actually, how about this? Something like this that has a circle pattern, and underneath there seems to be another log. Now this is a little problematic because cylinders take up a lot of detail, and they're kind of hard to work with. So we're gonna have to figure out something clever about working with this part. But essentially, this is really all the shape is. It's just a tile with a plank and another log underneath. So we'll figure out something about that. That's this whole section. Let's just make the edge as well. What's the edge made of? The edge seems to be a circle, a line, and a line. So it's something like this, and something like that. Boom, boom. Something like that. So this is all that's on this side, and then we have this area. Now this top part of the roof is a little more complicated because we have this section, which is just essentially a triangle that goes this way. Also, we don't really see anything from under here. We don't see anything underneath because let's assume that we're always going to look at it from above. And also, we don't see any other part of this. So essentially, this is just a triangle, and this detail on the front will probably be in the high resolution mesh, so we'll probably have to model some of this, but essentially it is just a triangle. So the front piece is just a triangle. That's all this is. So all that's left is this area. None of this, none of this, and none of this. This is all that's left. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 objects. So this entire house, except for the roof, can be made out of 7 objects. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's figure out what we're gonna do with this roof. This is a little complicated. You can see that each section is actually made of, let me see if I can zoom in a little more. You can see that each section here is actually made of tiles, and then on top of the tiles we have logs. So that's way too complex. If we wanted to, we could make this. We could make each of these tiles going across, we make each of these logs, and then we could just bake a normal map. We could do that. That's definitely something we could do. It might even be what we actually do. But let's see if there's anything else we can think of before deciding to do that. How do we... There we go. Let's look at this roof. So it has a piece here. It's made like that. That goes all the way across like this. And then it has another piece that goes up. So this actually continues. It's a separate piece of wood. But we could probably just make it continue. I'm actually seeing now that I can't tell whether this is a painting or a 3D model. Perhaps it's a bit of both. This is weird. What's going on here? So this doesn't really make very much sense. It doesn't look very good. You can sometimes see that the concept isn't always right. Sometimes the concept isn't, you know, easy to follow, and it might not even be correct. And let's look at here. Here we have some kind of wall, and then you have cylinders on the top, and then you have cylinders coming out of the cylinders. Okay, whoever designed this wasn't thinking about 3D modeling, I can tell you that for sure. These cylinders are going to be a problem. All of these cylinders are going to be a problem. Because for a movie it would be fine, but for a game this is like a lot of stuff you probably don't want. So maybe we'll change these to cubes, and that would be a little better. maybe, ooh, actually also these are cubes, I can see that now. So this makes this roof part even easier to make. So actually this is a cube, it's not a sphere. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, we're going through it. So far we have this part, and then there's another part that goes out like this. So this is probably separate, and this could be one object. The separation on this side and the separation on the other side, because this doesn't go all the way through like this. There's a different piece of wood that goes across here. So this is one part, and then across there's some kind of piece of wood that goes like this, and then underneath you have another set of piece of wood. So this is one part. This is gonna be another part. This is really hard to draw. Let's do something like that. Bada bing. Something like this. And then underneath we just have these cubes. They go like this. And that's easy. The top, here we just have this long bar. It goes all the way here and goes all the way down, then goes here like that, and then you have that long cylinder, and the rest is actually, let's hold on here for a second. Let's draw what we have. So on the front we have this kind of, oh my goodness, this kind of thing, and then we have a thing on the top like that, and then we have a thing on the side, and this thing on the side goes like this and has little pieces of wood go like that. Alright, cool, that's cool. What else do we got? All that's left really is this middle part. These middle sections. So we have a piece of wood, we have these pieces of wood, and we have this on the top. We also have a cylinder on the top, so this is kind of an important one. So we're going to keep this one because it's kind of important. And all we have left is these middle bits and these little cylinders coming out the side. Now these cylinders I really don't like, just because there's too much detail and they don't really make it look any better. I'm going to make the decision to change them into squares, because there's really no reason to be keeping them cylinders. It doesn't make sense either. Like, this bamboo must be huge, and these are tiles. These are not tiles. These look more like pipes, and it doesn't really make sense. So I'm gonna change them to wood. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone who knows about Chinese architecture is gonna be like, you're wrong, it has to be circles. Whatever, I'm gonna make them squares, just like underneath here. And these top ones are made of individual tiles. This isn't too bad. This can be done. I'm just going to make the pieces of wood that go across, and then I'm gonna on top of them put individual cylinders, and that's gonna be my high poly. But my low poly is just gonna be one big cube. So my low poly is just going to be one big shape like this. Okay, so this is actually the whole thing. This is the entire house. All this other stuff around the side I'm not gonna do because just it would take too long to explain. But this is the entire roof. This is the tiny roof, and this is the house. Cool. So this is the first thing I do when I have to work on something like this. I figure out what I'm making. Because otherwise you're going to be sitting in the beginning and you're going to make some of the house and you're going to make it a bit wrong, and you're going to make things that you didn't need to make, or you're not going to make enough, and it's just like not going to make sense. Whereas when you do this first part and you create, you analyze the reference image, you separate each separate individual object that you're going to have to make. Now you have a list of everything you have to make. I'm going to save this. Desktop, modular, modeling, save it here. And when I'm working in Maya, I'm actually going to be looking at this. I'm not even going to be looking at the image by itself, you know, not just this image. I'm going to be looking at this as well, because this is really important, and it reminds me what the separate pieces I have to make. So the first thing I do when I start making this house isn't going to be me thinking, oh man, where's the roof going to go? How am I gonna make the roof? You know, that's the first thing you think, right? You look at this and you're like, how the hell am I gonna make this roof? This is so complicated. Now, because I've drawn all of these out, the first thing I'm gonna do is, okay, let's make a square. That's gonna be my first thing. So it's a lot more straightforward. So I'm gonna make this into a series. It's gonna be in parts, because otherwise it's just gonna be too much, and too much for me to do at the same time. So this is the first part. Sketching out your references, and the next part we're going to be blocking out.